Here's the thing that I often get things. If we believe in that we're working for the common good, we have to make moral judgments. Moral judgments have to be made when things are wrong. And this is a problem of late modernity and post-modernity as a faith leader. And we do it all the time. Anti-Semitism is wrong. That's a moral judgment. Racism is wrong. That's a moral judgment. Misogyny is wrong. That's a moral judgment. And I could go on, right? Sexism, classism, hyper-militarism, I could go on, right? Scripture and our sacred text, whatever, it makes moral judgments all the time. So how do we balance making moral judgments that contribute to justice and hope while respecting the other? That's what we have not taught, and most of my church are millennials and Gen Zs. That's that cha-cha-cha, that cumbia, that salsa, that merengue, that waltz. We have not taught people that moral judgments are necessary for the common good while respecting individual opinion. Who has taught us to navigate that in the public sphere where demonizing the other is a challenge? But you know what also is a challenge? You shouldn't demonize the other, but you should also not let the other get away with injustice. And that is, I don't master it. I get called on it all the time. I've made mistakes. But I think that our fear of making moral judgments that contribute to justice and the common good has silenced many toward this false virtue of centrism. Centrism is not an ethical virtue.
If I could just ask a question to that is, I agree with moral judgments, racism, misogyny, all of it. But since we are complicated creatures and some people have racial bias that can be helped before it becomes racism, and don't know Jewish people, so they may say anti-Semitic things because they come from a place where they never met a Jew before, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If we are too pontificating in our moral judgments and don't open the space to help people who may just be, and I say the following, not in judgment, ignorant because of where or how they've grown up, I think we are in danger of pushing them completely to the side of actual racism, anti-Semitism, misogyny, et cetera. And I do think that there's something about our role to try to know when to pivot, when to salsa, when to merengue, to make sure that we don't push the wrong people away who could actually become allies. So it's a question statement.
Yeah. And I want to interject. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Gabe.
Rabbi, you're spot on, right? Because it's not just what you do, but how you do it. And there's nuance there, right? That's why I call it a dance, right? Yeah. I'm not a good dancer. My wife is an exquisite dancer.
I'm with you.
Yeah. I have two left feet. I mean, it's not, and you know, my wife is like, are you sure you're Puerto Rican? Like it gets intense. But yeah, because she's, you know, the rhythm is going to get you. Gloria Estefan says, well, the rhythm got me. And so I think that when we say we make moral judgments, part of that moral judgment is talking about root causes and ignorance versus intent versus maliciousness versus will. I mean, it's a complicated, right? That's why social media platforms are not ideal for it, because we lose the nuance, we lose the dance. Social media is not a dance. Social media is as Dr. Jan said, it's a blunt instrument. We're not Shema Yisrael. We're not listening to each other. There's no empathy. It's just a platform for us to say what we want to say with very little listening. So I agree with you 100% that there's nuance and there's caveat, and that's why I started with the balance of conviction and civility. And so I have to own, right? That moral judgment starts with me. I have to own my prejudices and my biases and my ignorance before I speak about the communal one, that it starts with my brokenness.